Good morning, traders. Welcome to the Bookmap Platform Details webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. Risk disclaimer, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, so what we do in the webinar here is we go through introduction of what Bookmap is, for those of you who are new, and define it. Who uses Bookmap, how to connect Bookmap to the various markets, how to get Bookmap, and then we go through the basics in the user interface and the order flow. Okay, so in the live market, looking at Bookmap, understanding exactly what it's showing us and how to use that to our advantage. Now, we have an advanced order flow webinar that is for subscribers. It's moved on beyond the basics in the order flow. We get into very specific details in the order flow. Now that's for the subscribers, and there's an educational course that comes when you subscribe to Bookmap. So in that course, that's available all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but you have the advanced order flow webinars to see the same course content, but in the live market. So you can ask questions, and you can also understand exactly what Bookmap is showing you. And in that webinar, it's not a trading room, but we do anticipate where future price might go based on our objective order flow analysis. So you can start to integrate order flow analysis into your trading as well. All right, so let's jump into the website and go through some of the basics here. Okay, we'll scroll down. So what is Bookmap? We are software. We're a software visualization trading platform. We just have a unique way of visualizing the market. That's our strength. Scroll down a little bit more. Who uses Bookmap? Day traders, scalpers, swing traders, and quants. Okay, now, we come from the quant HFT environment, but we notice that this also works quite well, and I'll show you how. For swing traders, position traders, as well as the scalpers and day traders. All right. Okay, you guys can read more about this here about getting an edge, because we're going to go through some of that in the webinar. We'll continue on down, and connectivity here. Right. So we connect to 3 different types of markets: futures, U.S. equities, and digital currencies. Now, the data for the digital currencies is free, so you always have access to that. But for U.S. equities and for futures, you will need to provide the data. Okay, that's pretty typical here in the U.S., and that's just how it works. So the way that you connect to U.S. equities is through DX feed. Okay, they're the exclusive data provider for U.S. equities at the moment. So what you can do is click here, get more information on that, and connect to all U.S. equities with NASDAQ Total View and EDGX if you like as well, or both. Now for the futures, there's many different ways to connect here. Okay, Rhythmic, CQG, Gain Capital, Transact, IQ Feed, Nanotick, and Cedro, which is Brazilian markets. You can connect via all of those different data providers, or there's another option as well to connect via the API of TT Xtrader Pro, Ninja Trader, and Interactive Brokers Traders Workstation. Okay. So for those of you trading with TT, just note that that's the only way that you connect is Xtrader Pro. That's what you need, and not TT Web. All right, so let's scroll down a little bit further. Some testimonials here, and then some of the packages. Let's go over the details here, how to get Bookmap. Okay, now you can subscribe yearly here, or you can subscribe monthly. Click on this link here. And you'll note the different versions here. There are 4. Right? And there's 2 digital ones and there's 2 global ones. Now the distinction between those 2 is the digital versions are for digital currencies only. The global versions are for all of the markets. Okay, so you can see the digital version over here is free. It offers you only 1 digital currency at a time. But the concept here is the markets are always open. You can always check on a a live market and see what Bookmap looks like. Okay, the data is free, so you can get up and running right away. Right, it does have limitations. You only get the basic education and limited support. But if you are a U.S. equities trader, you can also use this free version here to get a delayed data feed of U.S. equities. If you're a futures trader, you can replay downloaded futures files that come with it. So you can access all three markets with this digital free version. But if you want live data for equities and currencies, equities and futures, then just I would recommend subscribing for a month for the global version. Okay, now the Digital Plus version, again, is just for digital currencies here. It is a subscription. You do get the full education and full support and other things that you get. You can trade right from the Bookmap chart into a live GDEX or BitMEX account. Okay, you can record and replay your data, and you get multiple instruments, up to 20. Okay, per exchange. So for BitMEX, OKCoin, GDAX, all the rest. Okay, the ones that we connect to. Now, let's jump over to the global version. So the global version allows connectivity to all three markets, but you will need to provide that data for futures and for US equities. And that's the big distinction here. Right, now the Global Plus version, well, what that allows you is access to everything, including our proprietary add-on indicators. Okay, one is the ability to trade right from the Bookmap chart into a fully funded account. This is a nice benefit because we have the liquidity heat map in front of you. Therefore, you can start to manage your orders in regards to the liquidity heat map. Okay, we also have large lot tracker. This is a proprietary indicator that very specifically looks at larger players holding majority of liquidity in the order book. Okay, we want to understand where the larger players are, and this algo can detect them. The imbalance indicators for both the book and for volume. And we have an iceberg tracker. Again, larger players where they don't want to show their liquidity. It's the opposite. And they're hiding it on purpose with iceberg orders, but we can detect them. And then a correlation tracker, adding different markets right onto the Bookmap chart. Okay, so all three of these versions, Digital Plus, Global, and Global Plus, come with the full education and full support. All right, let's scroll down a little bit more, go over some different resources we have, featured blog posts, or you can click here for the link for more information on blogs. And then let's go to our Twitter page. Okay, all sorts of information here every day, and usually every day. So follow us on Twitter and get all sorts of juicy details on new content, other traders' tweets, and some of our tweets on market phenomena that can be very, very insightful. The YouTube page is another resource here, okay, and we'll just go through the playlist on the front page. There's intro videos here. Okay, there's features and components. You can click on this and go through all the different features and components. And then some selected webinars here, so you want to check out some of those. And then the order flow video snippets. I think you guys will find these the most helpful. They're very short and concise, and this is the kind of advantage you get with Bookmap, looking at very specific order flow phenomena that Bookmap uncovers. That's the advantage with the visualization. Okay, pretty nice videos. Like I said, very short and concise, but very insightful. And this is kind of content we go through in the advanced order flow webinars in the live market. All right, so that's the different resources here. Let's jump into Bookmap here and take a look and see what's going on. Okay, we're looking here at the ES, but I'm going to switch over to the NASDAQ. E-mini. There we go. All right, zoom out a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to close up some of our add-on indicators here. Everyone gets this indicator when you subscribe. This is an indicator subpanel. This is cumulative volume delta. Close that up. Also, everyone gets the point of control indicator, historical, showing on the chart, current and historical. And then the VWAP, we're going to close that up. There's a historical VWAP, really nice indicator. Everyone also has access to that. All right, so what are we looking at here? Looks like a lot of different things on the chart here. How to read this, how to decipher it, looks complex. It's actually not, it's very straightforward data. What we're looking at here are just three elements on this Bookmap chart. One is current and historical best bid and offer. The next one is the volume dots here that you see that traded on that historical best bid and offer. And then the third is the heat map. Okay, the heat map is showing you where they're bidding and offering, not only currently here in this window, but historically. Okay, so let's go over that heat map and just go through some of the details here of exactly what it's showing you, because this is probably the number one feature here that most traders don't have access to and maybe have misconceptions about liquidity. Okay, and how to utilize that for your trading, okay, and why it's so important. And the reason being is because this is the auction. We're looking right at the auction. It has an effect on price. It has to, because that's where they're bidding and offering. So for those of you familiar with a DOM, then let's go through the details here and make some comparisons. Now, this vertical white line right here divides the historical view to the left. This is what just occurred. Okay, and then the current view to the right. This is what is occurring right now in real time. So this dashed red line is the best offer, dashed green line is the best bid. And you see this number here is the last traded volume. Okay, and then you see our price ladder here. Okay, I have it every 4 ticks, so every full point for the NASDAQ E-mini. And then we're looking at this column here. I'm just going to go through one column, and that's the COB column. And what we're looking at here is the DOM. This is the current order book. That's what it stands for. And we're looking at liquidity here. These numbers, these numeric values here are contracts. This is where traders are lined up providing liquidity. Okay, they're up here on the offer. They want to be sellers up here. And down here, they're on the bid. They want to be buyers at these levels here. These are all the limit orders in the book right now. Right? So you can see that we have a graphical reference here with the bar as well that gives you the size of the liquidity here. Okay, so 55 contracts here, 45 down here, 50 down here. You can see these numbers are always constantly changing. Okay, the problem with the DOM is when these numbers change, you lose the perspective or reference to what just happened. Okay, so you don't know, it's gone. There's no recording of it. So what we do in Bookmap is we take these numeric values here, and in this window right here with the best bid and offer, we turn that liquidity into a heat map, okay, graphically. So high liquidity is painted. Okay, so you can see 48 contracts here. They just pulled some and they just added it back in. So some interest here at 74.40. Okay, here down here you can see 53 contracts here. Right? So, and they just pulled. In fact, let's zoom out a little bit. We're a little too close to the market here. And it's fluctuating very, very quickly. So as these numbers change, the heat map changes. The scale of the heat map is up here at the top. Okay, so red and orange are the highest liquidity. It's the highest liquidity in the book. Okay, the most contracts at those price levels. And then yellow is less, and then white, then blue, and then the least is black area. All right, so that's what we're showing in the heat map. And you'll see that as these numbers change, the heat map changes. We've seen it just pretty dramatically changing here, pretty quickly. So a little bit of volatility at the moment. Now, when the heat map changes in color, well, the interesting part here is that we record this and place it onto the chart historically. So these striations here that you see in the heat map, that's the adding and pulling of liquidity. Okay, it was orange here, then it turned red, so they added more in, then they pulled, then they added more in, and then they pulled again. Okay, these guys down here are rather fickle. As you can see, they're adding liquidity, then pulling it, and it looks like a few different players here are doing that because let me explain here. I'll just stop it for a moment. See this liquidity here, adding and pulling, and then look when they pulled it right here, and they added it down below here. Okay, almost at the same moment, right? So it's probably an algo, or it's just for sure, or pretty sure that this is the one individual actor with a lot of liquidity that's pulling and then adding it lower. Okay? And then we can start to piece together some of the individual players and algorithmic activity. Okay? So this is where it gets really interesting, because now we're able to use the DOM on much higher time frames. Okay, not just for the current market. Okay, because if you trade off of the DOM now, well, you're going to love looking at it when you zoom out. Okay, because you're going to be able to decipher the intent of the traders, not only in this current and recent historical market, but on the much higher time frames. Right. So, for example, reading the liquidity here. Okay, we're not even looking at volume right now. We're just looking at price and liquidity. And we can start to understand what we're channeling right now between two areas of high liquidity, down here at 32, okay, and then up here at 35.5. Now we just saw, look what they're doing here. They're pulling, and look what they're doing here. They're adding at lower prices here, okay? So we just had a breakdown, in fact. We broke out of a microstructure here, okay? It was channeling right here, as you can see, and let's just go through it. Okay, it was channeling between these two areas of high liquidity. And then something changed. They started pulling down here at 32. Okay? Price starts coming down toward them. They're pulling again. Okay, they're pulling in these areas here. They don't want to be buyers any longer, right? This was pretty high liquidity earlier. Now they're pulling. They don't want to be a buyer. They want to be a buyer down here. In fact, we can, again, see the behavior of this individual actor. Some of it was pulled here and then added down here. Okay, pretty clearly. So we understand now, is there intent to buy here for real? And it's not. No, they don't want to buy. They want to buy lower, right? Well, what do we find instead? We find sellers hit the bid pretty hard here, right down into that area, okay? And actually, we bounce right back out of it, okay? So in looking at this here, they also pulled at this level here. So we're starting to understand the behavior as well in this auction. And we haven't even covered volume yet, right? But we're starting to really understand a lot of different things here just by understanding liquidity and the effect it has on price. Okay? This is a nice, really nice false breakout here for the moment, or breakdown. So it broke down, as you can see, and we saw the breakdown happen in real time. And then we see buyers come right back in, okay? And look at how there's high liquidity here again at 33. So this is tricky stuff, because they looks like they want to be sellers here. They also want to be sellers here at 32, but they actually started a pull as well. Okay? And we start to come up to these guys at 33, and they pull. Right? We find more buyers here, and they hit the bid or lift the offer above back into this range here. Okay? And then look at the liquidity then here. Okay, this is the distinction. This is real liquidity. They're staying in the book. Now they don't trade actually, but the best bid is in right into this level with 62 contracts. Right, we're looking right at it, and you can see that more buyers came in and they pull again here on the offer. Find more buyers. Okay, so this is a breakdown here. Comes back up into the range, and we find buyers, and they lift the offer pretty aggressively. A beautiful pullback right to it again, down here at 35. Okay. Anyway, that's what we're looking at in the heat map, and I haven't even covered volume yet or the structure. Right. So let's do that, and let's take off the heat map here for a moment, and we're just going to look at the other two elements on the chart. And I'll quickly define these, and then we'll look at the entire picture together. Okay? So the other two elements on the chart, okay, this is what we're usually accustomed to looking at, is volume in some sort of form and historical price, okay, what transacted, right? And usually we're looking at a bar though, okay? So let's put a bar on here, a candlestick chart, okay, and zoom out a little bit. And this is the bar we're usually accustomed to accessing here. It's a 5-minute candlestick chart. Okay, we can zoom out a little bit more. And the problem here is it's all aggregated within a period. Okay, and I don't care if you're looking at point and figure, if you're looking at volume bars, if you're looking at some sort of other range bar, whatever it is, it's still a periodicity. And you're only seeing what's happening within that period. Okay, so for example, this 5-minute candlestick chart, we only get 4 data points here: open, high, low, and close. There's all sorts of details we just don't get. We don't see where they're bidding and offering, like in the heat map, that's for sure. Secondly, we don't see the volume, where it precisely traded. Okay, we don't see microstructure either, because it's all been going back and forth within a 5-minute period. So what do I mean by microstructure, and how is that advantageous? Well, looking at all sorts of microstructure here. Okay, it's areas where there's consolidations and breakouts and other phenomena as well. But look at this little area here, consolidation. Okay, here's your breakout here. You see buyers come in, okay? And then it broke down again into this little area of consolidation. Okay, again, and then we get another breakout, but it failed here. Right, it broke out and came back into the range, and then actually came to the little point of control here of this little range up here. It failed and it broke down. Okay, now it's trending as it goes down. Okay, and we can see within that trend a pretty typical behavior here. More volume trading at lower lows. Anyway. We want to understand this microstructure, and this is within a 5-minute period. Okay, like this little retest back up here is beautiful, and we can also see the volume here and the retest back up to where it broke down right here, and then no volume trading up here. Okay, so this microstructure here is now trading within this range, and it breaks the range to the downside. Anyway. We want to understand these microstructural areas because they lead to bigger moves. And you can zoom out and you can see the bigger moves if you like, but you can also zoom in and get all the details. Now let's zoom in and see all the details here, and I want to show you what volume looks like here in Bookmap as well. Okay. We'll just go into this little area right here. All right. Now, these are the other 2 elements on the chart that I was describing. Well, I was describing the heat map, and now let's look at these other 2 elements. Okay, one is the historical best bid and offer. The green line is the best bid. The red line is the best offer. And then these dots here, what do they represent? This is volume, and let's make them a little bit bigger here. These are transactions that took place on that best bid or offer. Now you see green dots take place on the best offer. And that's because this is, we're recording the aggressor, okay, the market buy and market sell orders. Now there has to always be 2 parties. They're always buying from somebody, but in this case, we are showing volume as the aggressor. They're taking liquidity from the best offer, okay, and a green dot paints. Okay, so someone hit the market buy button. It's the aggressor because they didn't provide liquidity, they didn't wait, they wanted in right away, and they hit the buy button. They paid up the spread to get in. Okay, this is actually what moves price, and how price can move to another level is through a book sweep or sweeping of one price level to go to the next level. Right, and you can see here now, if I zoom back out, look how we aggregate that into a bigger dot, and we can get the specifics here if we want. We can use the data tip tool, and this big dot here shows volume of 13. All right, that's the aggressive buyers. Aggressive sellers here, this is a volume of 1. It's smaller and it's red. So there's a distinction between the 2. Now, we're not aggregating any of this data as well. We came from that HFT environment, and we're showing every single detail. Every single market event is recorded here. So let's zoom in and you'll see everything that took place. Okay, this is what that volume of 13 looked like. Okay, or is it 13? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, that's 9, 10, 11. There's 11 of them here at least. Here's the behavior. This is exactly what occurred. Okay, we're down at microsecond level, looking at millions of seconds. Okay, we can continue on to nanosecond level, but just to give you a feel for the accuracy and the power of the platform here. Okay, and everything being recorded. Now, just in my opinion, just alone, the way that volume is displayed with microstructure is very insightful. Okay, but when we add on the final element here of the heat map, now we really have something, because we're looking at not only the volume and transactions, where they took place, and within structure, but now we're starting to understand it in relationship to the current auction and the historical auction. And as promised, just wanted to zoom out here and I'll show you what I mean, how you're able to now use the heat map or your dome on much higher time frames. Okay, so here's our 930 open, and these volume dots are too big. All right, and well, you can see they're bidding here, and we at the open we trade right into them and through them a little bit, and then it bounces right back up. Okay, where they were before here on the offer. Okay, and then we continue on to the downside. Where do we go? We go into areas of higher liquidity. This was known back at 8:30 or even before, and probably before. Yeah. Yeah, they were actually in the market here around 7 o'clock or so. Okay, we come right down into those areas here where larger players are starting to layer their liquidity. They want to be buyers down at these areas here. Okay, so we're starting to understand now these levels here, and start to understand that if they transact and they start to trade, well, they're going to start to absorb a lot of that buying pressure. Or selling pressure. In this case, they didn't absorb all of it. We can see we continued to the downside. Okay, but we is the trend continuing? Not at the moment. We're going sideways now. Okay, it's still. I mean, yeah, we're still making lower lows here. So maybe I should say that the trend is continuing here, but we're also making a higher low. Okay, we're making lower highs, but we just made a higher low here. So we are going sideways right now. Okay, and a lot of that is due to potentially here some of this absorption by some of the buyers here, and then look at them step in here at 74.30. See that price level here? We don't even test it, okay? And they're still here down here at 74.30. Okay? And we're finding buyers here, and they're starting to break out of this range here, so, or at least testing the top of the range. Anyway, that's Bookmap. I haven't gotten any questions from anybody here, but starting to understand now and put really these three elements to use on both current and historical use or time frames, and start to piece together this with whatever kind of trading methodology that you utilize. But now you know where they are, and you can see their behavior, and that can be very, very insightful. All right, so for those of you who signed up for the advanced order flow webinar, we'll see you over there. Else, we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.